What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year to everybody out there. And with the new year, we're starting a brand new video on this game. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make a series about this one or not just yet. Just let me know down in the comments below if you like what you see, and maybe I'll make more than one video. Try not to make this one extremely long, maybe 30 minutes or so. On this video, we're going to be playing Planet Zoo. Now, I played Zoo Tycoon back in the day, and this game kind of reminds me of that. So I just wanted to try it out and see what it was all about. As you can see, I already got my avatar created here. He's a pretty handsome looking fella, if I do say so myself. So got him all done. Don't have a lot of options for hair and stuff like that, but that's irrelevant right now, I guess. So let's go ahead and hop into a brand new game. I'm gonna be starting the career mode. Now, like I said, I've never played this game before, so you guys are going to be learning as I learn if you never played this game. So I'm just going to start off with the first option here, which is the Goodwin house. And that is the tutorial portion of the game. So let's start anew and see what it's all about. Look at those majestic beasts up there at the top of the building.
Sorry about that. I have a habit of slipping back into the Planko language. It's good to finally meet you in person.
Likewise.
Although I insist you call me Bernie. The only person who calls me Bernard is my wife. And even then, only when I've tracked elephant dung into the carpets. As you know, I own several zoos, but I always like to show people the ropes here at my home. This is the first zoo I ever opened, and a source of great pride for me. And prides, thanks to a lion breeding program we ran in the 80s. But we're in the middle of a big renovation, and that's where you come in. Sadly, our old contractor had to retire after developing a fur allergy. Poor devil kept sneezing his dentures into the lion habitat. So
Losing them teeth.
it's up to you to finish everything off. Don't worry, though. I'm not completely throwing you in at the deep end. My head keeper, Nancy Jones, will be lending a helping hand. Oh, she's a hard worker, and she'll expect you to be too. But I'm sure you'll get along like a house on fire, or even better, one that isn't on fire. Less shouting that way.
Hello there. From that rosy, fresh face of yours, I'm guessing you're Bernie's new hire.
I am.
Good. Now, I hope you're ready to ditch your diploma because we're about to get really hands-on. But before we begin the real work, how about we familiarize you with the zoo by learning how to fly around it and visiting some of our beautiful animals? We'll start by popping over and having a look-see at the grizzly bears in their habitat.
All right, looks like we are free to get started. They're gonna kind of teach me how to play the game, like I said, because I don't know how to play it. Let's see. It says objective: Goodwin House, renovated and renamed after its purchase by Bernard Goodwin in the 1980s. Goodwin House has since become one of the most respected zoos in the country. Most recently, it has undergone a further renovation to update many of the habitats and facilities, but due to various issues, the work hasn't quite been completed, which is where you come in. All right, so we have to locate the grizzly bear habitat. So it's pretty standard WASD to move around. I've located it. Now, what do I do? Click on it or something? Let's see. It says enter the grizzly bear animal camera. And how do I do said thing?
Did you know that grizzly bears, also known as Ursus arctos horribilis, can hibernate for up to 7 months a year? Oh, but then again, given the chance, I think a lot of people would do that too. Select one of the bears and you'll bring up its information panel.
All right, let's click on old bear here. Yogi. Oh, that's Mika.
You can
Or
find
Micah.
out all kinds of information about your animal. The most important thing being its overall welfare. You'll learn more about animal welfare today as we go through your objectives. But for now, let's enjoy this magnificent animal. Why don't you select the camera at the bottom of its information panel?
All right, that's the camera they was talking about. Gives us an up-close and personal view of Micah.
This is a fantastic way to get a close look at your animals. You can also get this view of an animal by simply double-clicking on it. Okay, when you're ready, let's pop over to the other side of the zoo and take a look at the lions. I've marked their location for you to find.
All right. Now we can go take a gander at the lions. These animals look pretty good. Kind of realistic. I want to see how do I. It tells me how can I tilt the camera because I'm kind of too low to the ground now. Got it all figured out. Now let's head on over to this lion's habitat. See what they got going on.
Panthera leo. All the West African lion to you and me. Lions are the most social of the big cats, and there can be as many as 40 lions in a pride. Although prides of that size are pretty
There they
rare.
are.
As Bernie would say, those lions are awesome. Which is precisely why I handle training instead these days. Anyway, how about we get started on those objectives? Come on, let's head over to an empty habitat and see what needs doing there.
All right, I guess they just kind of show us where the animals are. Let's see where the empty habitat is. It's over yonder. Let's head on over and zoom
As you
in.
can see, it's a lovely space for animals, but it's missing a certain something. Well, two somethings. Warthogs. So I'd like you to adopt a pair of them. To adopt animals, we need to open the animal market, which is in the animal trading section. There we are, a pair of perfectly splendid warthogs for our zoo. Just click on them and select Adopt from the side menu. Normally the animal exchange would be full of animals, but I've emptied out the market while you learn how it works. The last thing I need is you accidentally ordering a dozen elephants. When you adopt an animal, it's automatically placed in the trade centre, where they're held until you're ready to move them into their habitat, which, as it happens, you are. So how about you move them into their new home?
Here they are. Do we have to just drag them in? Send to the zoo, okay. Put one there. Send him to the zoo or her.
When you ask for an animal to be moved into a habitat, your caretakers will go to the trade centre, collect your animal, and deliver them to your selected habitat. I've marked the trade centre's location, so let's go and watch the caretakers in action.
See what's going on with the warthogs. Are they bringing them over?
As you can see, those caretakers don't hang about. They'll move those animals to their destination as fast as possible. Of course, normally we'd have to place the animals into quarantine before moving them into a habitat, but I am assured by a person of good standing that these warthogs are in the very rudest of health. Right, let's get the warthog's habitat finished up so we can keep them nice and happy. You see, each animal in the zoo has an overall welfare statistic, basically how happy they are, and that overall welfare statistic is itself comprised of 4 different areas: nutrition, social health, habitat, and enrichment. Luckily, if you select an animal, you'll bring up their animal welfare information panel, which we saw earlier, where you can see how they're doing. That way, you'll know exactly what areas need to be addressed. Don't worry if that's a lot to remember. You can always check the Zoopedia for more information.
That was a lot of information.
Let's start by making sure we're taking care of the warthog's nutrition welfare. To do this, we'll need to place a food station and a drinking station. Now, each animal requires a different type of feeding station. And for the warthogs, it's a small feeding trough. So let's add one of those and a water bowl.
Alright, there's a lot to this game. I remember playing Zoo Tycoon back in the day. All you really had to do was build a habitat and then place the animals that you wanted in there, and the zookeeper pretty much took care of the rest. But you did have to make sure that the fences and stuff like that stayed healthy, because if they deteriorated, then the animals could get out, and that's not good for anybody. Let's go ahead and place this food trough down for our warthogs. Let me place it. I want to place it in an area where they won't be disturbed by the visitors while they're eating their lovely food. So let me kind of place it over this way. We also place down the watering bowl right next to the food trough.
Animals also require stimulation to keep them happy. Let's add a lovely mud bath for the warthogs to roll around in. That bath will count towards their enrichment welfare, specifically their toy enrichment welfare.
Yeah, like I was saying, Zoo Tycoon, you didn't really have to worry about like the happiness of the animals and all that stuff. If I remember right, you just had to make sure they were taken care of. But they did have some sort of happiness to where you needed to have the correct type of foliage in the habitat and stuff like that. But it wasn't nothing like,
Nice work. You've got a knack
placing
for this,
food
I
down and
see.
stuff.
Now, our contractor had to leave in a hurry, so this place is in a fair old state. Unfinished thingamajigs and whatsits all over the shop. But the first thing we need to finish is the ostrich habitat. It's over near the hippos.
All right, let's go take care of the ostriches. She says near the hippos, like I know where that is. Luckily, they're not too hard to find. Where are they?
Oh, before we actually start building our ostrich habitat, let's pause the game. Just click the pause button in the bottom right corner. Ah, that's more like it. A quick break. Sometimes it's a good idea to pause the game whilst you're doing something which requires your concentration, because it'll stop the zoo spinning out of control while you're looking the other way. Let's keep the game paused while we get this ostrich habitat built. Okay, job number 1 here is to add a habitat gate before we complete the barrier. Every habitat needs a habitat gate. After all, how else would the keepers get in and out? Just make sure it's hooked up to the path so the keepers can reach it.
I was gonna say when she sent me over here to check on the ostriches, I was gonna say the habitat is not finished. So where are they? Thought they might have escaped or something like that. But I guess we are the ones that need to finish this thing. Let's go ahead and place this habitat gate down.
Right, let's complete the perimeter barrier so we can adopt us some ostriches. I've marked out an area for you to use, so I'd like you to finish off the perimeter using the brick barrier.
All right. Wait a minute. Just moving my camera around.
Good
Right.
work. Remember, before you can place animals in any habitat, it has to have a full loop of connected barrier. Now, you've probably noticed that guests can't actually see into this
I was just
habitat
gonna
at the
say that,
moment.
but
At
they
least
couldn't
not
see
without
in
a
there.
stepladder. But seeing as they're banned, I'd like you to select a piece of barrier and swap out the brick for a glass barrier so the guests can see in.
I was just going to say, like, how are the guests going to see the animals with the brick? It says highlight a section of the barrier and then click the glass in the browser to swap it. Okay. Let me click that. And maybe I need to do that first. Click edit barrier. And is there a way for me to increase my barrier editing size? Let's see. No, I don't want to make it bigger. Oh no, what did I do? Let's figure this out. Hold on. Maybe I just need to do one section. Ah, there we go. I think I'm figuring it out now. Couldn't really see those buttons because the other icons were in my way. Let me stretch it out one more this way. If I can. Let me see, do I have enough money? I don't think so, but I guess that's enough anyway.
There we go. Adding in more windows gives guests even more opportunities to see the animals in a habitat. It's always best to make sure the guests can get a good view into a habitat from the path they're walking on, because it makes them happy, and because this would be a pretty terrible zoo if they couldn't. The last thing we need to do is to add a donation box. You see, when guests enjoy the view of an animal, they'll make a donation. Just make sure you put them in easy-to-reach places like near a viewing point. Donation boxes are one of the main sources of income for the zoo, so make sure you remember them.
All right, let's go ahead and place the donation box down. I guess I couldn't complete my last task because I somehow deleted my main gate right there, which I thought I did I thought I put down. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. Anyway, let's place this donation box down so we can make some money
now,
on.
Before we adopt our ostriches, you should click the play button. After all, if the game's paused, then so are our caretakers, which will make it a bit tricky for them to deliver the ostriches, eh?
Start the game back
By
up.
the way, as well as pausing the game, you can speed the game up by clicking on the fast forward button. It'll run everything at 2 times and 5 times faster. It can be useful, especially if you're waiting for money to accumulate or for animals to be delivered to your habitat. Personally, I use it when I'm waiting for a brew to finish. All right, you've finished the habitat, so it's high time we adopted those ostriches, don't you think?
I think so.
Let's get 4 of them in here.
All right, let me get my ostriches in. Let's adopt 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now let's send them all to the zoo. Uh-oh. Get my menu back up. Sent 1. Got that one coming to be delivered. Let's send the other 2.
While we wait for them to be collected by the caretakers and brought to the habitat, you should get it ready for them. Add a suitable feeding station, water station, and an appropriate food enrichment item. It's often best to place things like enrichments and feeding stations near to the habitat perimeter, so guests can get a really good view of the animals.
I guess I could, but I mean, what if they didn't want to be bothered by these people? You know what I mean? Maybe they just want to eat their food in peace. It's just a feeder for the ostriches. A slow feeder, okay. I guess I'll place it close to the glass so that people can get a good look at them. Another food bowl. And a small water trough. I wonder, can I rotate these items? Is there a way to do that? Guess I'll figure that out later. Go ahead and place that down so we can get my animals taken care of.
Really stretch their legs. Did you know they can actually run at 43 miles per hour? Oh, heaven forbid they ever escape. The speed camera fines alone would bankrupt us.
Well, Bernie certainly seems impressed. Did he do his speed camera joke? Every time we get an ostrich. So, now we've made the ostriches' lives a bit better, let's do the same for the keepers, shall we? To make it easier for the keepers to feed the ostriches and hippos, we should build a new keeper hut. Keeper huts are where the keepers prepare the food for animals, so they should be placed near to the habitats to make sure the keepers don't waste their time walking when they should be looking after the animals.
That's right. Got to make them efficient. So let's go ahead and place this down right next to the animal habitat. We got a classic keeper hut and a Planet Zoo keeper hut small. Are they about the same price? Not $5 difference. I like the look of that one better.
The keeper hut to get it to connect up to the path.
All right, so how do we rotate? Let's see here. Oh, okay, all right. So if I do this, yeah, I like that. That's how I rotate things. I'm sure it's the same with the items for the animals too.
This keeper hut only has space for 1 keeper, but the larger keeper hut can allow multiple keepers to prepare food at the same time. Oh, but bear in mind that keeper huts and other staff facilities shouldn't be placed near to areas where there are lots of guests. Guests don't like seeing facility buildings, and it can affect their happiness negatively. In case that wasn't clear. Something that all facilities, shops, and a whole host of other objects need is power, and that obviously includes your newly built keeper hut. So let's place a transformer next to it, shall we?
Well, I could see why the guests
reason
wouldn't
everything has gone blue
buildings
is
to
because
be in the
you're using
area.
the power heat map. This map allows you to see what is and what isn't powered in your zoo. So once you've placed your transformer, you can click in the bottom left to turn the heat map off.
Invalid rotation. Oh, okay, that's right. Gotta make sure it's pointed towards the street or the pathway.
Lovely work. Now the keepers can start using the hut to prepare food, and thanks to where you've put it, they won't need to walk very far to deliver it to the ostriches and hippos. Let's get on to your next objective then. Bengal tigers.
All
I
right.
want to adopt some, but I'm afraid there's nothing ready for them yet. Head on over to the plot of land I've marked out. It's not too far away.
There it is.
Righty, your next job is to build a habitat.
Oh, this
from
has nothing.
Scratch. And concrete and glass, I expect. So, go ahead and build it. Just make sure that the habitat includes that big hole we've dug. Oh, and don't forget to add a habitat gate to the barrier.
I wonder what I gotta do with that
And make sure
hole in the
guests will
ground.
be able to see the tigers.
All right, let's go ahead and place some barriers down. Start off with the red brick. I'm gonna place the brick on the back because people don't really need to see back there. I'm gonna place a red brick there, and then from the side, since this is a pathway, I'm gonna go ahead and first off, let me rotate my camera so I can see and so that you can see as well. Go ahead and place my glass barrier out this way. I guess that's too long. I feel like they should let me place that there. They should shorten it up for me. Anyway, I guess they don't want it too close to the pathway. Nah, I mean, so I'm going to place the door right there so the keepers can get in. Got that all connected up, got the glass so the people can see. And complete the habitat boundary. Thought I did that. Let me see, did I miss something? Looks like I connected everything, I thought. Maybe not. Let me see. Looks like I'm missing something. Anyway, let me go ahead and connect the habitat to the path. Alright, well, it wouldn't let me put my gate further out, so how could I connect it to the pathway? Oh, that's not closed. What happened there? You won't let me close that off. Darn it. Let me see something. Let me figure out how to demolish this thing. If I edit it, is there a way to... Oh, okay, I see I can change the length now. But I don't want to change the length, I just want to get rid of it. Oh, crap. It's deleted my whole gate. Ah, well, let's start from scratch, I guess.
Now, Bernie takes safety very seriously at his zoos, so we should probably make sure those tigers can't jump out of their habitat, don't you think? The way we'll do it is by changing the height of the habitat's barrier.
All right.
Then, you should start by double-clicking the habitat barrier, which will take you into barrier editing mode. Great. Now, highlight the entire perimeter of the habitat. You can do that by clicking and dragging the barrier selection tool. Now you've got all of the perimeter selected, you can increase the height of it by clicking and dragging the barrier height tool upwards. You'll want to make sure it reaches a height of at least 3.7 meters.
3.7. Let's make it an even 4.
Now that the habitat is in place, don't forget to put down a donation box near to your viewing areas. We need every dollar we can get. Especially as these tigers aren't exactly eating instant noodles for lunch. Okay, that's the habitat boundary complete, the habitat gate in place, and most importantly, the tigers won't be able to jump out of it anymore. I think it's time we adopted those tigers.
All right, I am in agreement with your sister. Go ahead and get these Bengal tigers in here after all my hard work trying to figure out how to get this gate down. I mean, what a pain in the butt that was, right?
Whilst our trusty caretakers collect and deliver the tigers, let's take a look at preparing the habitat for their arrival. We'll start with the basics. Add a suitable feeding station for them.
Let's get them a large feeding tray, kind of put it close to the area where my
This time,
customers can
instead
see.
of adding a water bowl, let's try something different. Some animals need a pool in their habitat so they can go for a swim, but they can also use it to drink from. All you have to do is make sure the banks of the pool have a gentle slope so they can easily get a nice, refreshing drink. There's already a pool excavated, but you still need to fill it with water. You should do that by going into terrain and selecting the water tool. Yes, that'll do nicely. Of course, just like the warthogs and ostriches, these tigers will also need some enrichment. Why don't you add some suitable toy and food enrichment items into their habitat?
Okay. Got my water down. See what kind of enrichment items we have for them. What's this? Climbable. A rubbing pad. Let's place that down somewhere for them. Can I rotate that? I can. Get him a food enrichment.
Okay, it's really starting to take shape. Now, the tigers will need a shelter in their habitat so they can hide from the guests, or more likely the bad weather. Although given that we're in England, you might want to think of that just as normal weather. Go on, add a shelter to their habitat. You can either build one from various suitable bits and bobs, or if you like, just pop down the blueprint that I've already built for you.
I'll plop down the blueprint. I would like to put it kind of back there, but it's blocked by other things. So let me just place it right here.
Oh, poor Dabs. I'm sure it can't have escaped your attention that the tigers look a bit miffed. That's because they aren't too keen on the type of terrain in their habitat.
Well, let's change that for them, shall we?
And bring up its information panel. Rightio, click on the terrain tab. That way you can view the terrain information and see how they feel about the different types of terrain. That'll tell you what the tigers need more of or less of in this habitat. Okay then, open the terrain editing tool, select painting, and give them some more soil. Yes, that should help with the habitat part of their welfare.
They like long grass and soil that they need. So let's place some of that down. Where's the soil? What kind of soil they like? Does it matter? Doesn't look like it. Like they want some long grass too. They are lacking. There we go. Got my soil. Got that ratio just right.
They say that good fences make good neighbors. I guess that's doubly true when one of the neighbors is a Bengal tiger. Still, those tigers look so happy that I doubt they'd leave, even if you did poke a hole in their fence. Oh, but for heaven's sake, don't test that theory.
Right, let's head over to the Indian peafowls. I've been told that we need to improve their social welfare.
All right. Let's head over to the next exhibit so we can finish up this tutorial and end this thing. It's been going on too long already.
the peafowls and select them to open their information panel. Then we can have a good gander at how they're doing. Although
Think it's a
technically, I suppose
peafowl.
gandering would just be for geese. Expand their social welfare, and we can get a bit more detail. Now, they've clearly got plenty of space, and they're
Too
not
few
stressed,
adults and
but it looks
juveniles
like
in the
their
animal social group.
isn't quite right. So let's find out more. Click on the social tab at the top of their information panel to see what's wrong. Right.
Needs
as you
more
can see,
adults.
the peafowls
Or
need
too
their
many.
population to be larger. To solve this little problem, you'll need to adopt 3 more female peafowls. Off you pop to the animal market then.
Female peafowls. Adopt. 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 Alright, let's get them sent to the zoo.
Good work on those peafowls. I expect they'll be delivered soon. But sadly, it sounds like our snow leopard is a bit grumpy. Let's head over there and see what's wrong with her.
Where is she? There she is. See what's going on with her.
Just like people, animals can suffer from stress if things aren't quite right. You know, like when you see someone put in the milk before the tea bag. In the case of these snow leopards, they're a bit stressed by their lack of privacy. You can lower their stress levels by swapping out the normal glass barrier by their cave for one-way glass. It's not a cheap option, but I think they're worth the expense, don't you? This will give the snow leopards somewhere to go when they want to get away from the prying eyes of the guests.
Tired of seeing all those people. So let's swap this section here with the one-way glass. All right.
Of course, when an animal isn't in its natural biome, it's probably going to be too hot or too cold. Unsurprisingly for the snow leopards, it's too hot. Even with the terrible British weather, you should help cool it down by adding some coolers to their habitat. But let's start by opening up the temperature heat map and having a look-see at the temperature in the leopard's habitat.
Burning up in there.
As you can see, we already have one cooler in there. Let's pop some more down and get as much of the habitat as chilly as we can. Luckily for us, this habitat already has power, but you'll need to make sure of that in the future. Just so you know, if any part of a habitat is powered, then the whole habitat will be powered. You can find heat maps for all sorts of helpful things, so do be sure to explore them and make good use of them. It'll take a little while for the temperature to adjust once you've added coolers or heaters, but now we've got the coolers in, we can address the leopard's terrain welfare. You see, what the leopards really want in here is snow and rock, so let's make that happen.
Now they got too much grass, not enough snow. So let's take away some of this long grass. Give them some more snow. Let me make that a little bit bigger so we can speed things along. Get rid of some more of this long grass. Let me drop this down just a scotch. Any more long grass in here? I know it's some somewhere. Right here is a section.
Now then, all of that should give you a pretty good understanding of how to make animals happy. So I'd like you to go and check on all the other animals in the zoo and fix up any issues with their habitats. That'll increase the average welfare of the animals across the whole zoo. And that average welfare is a very important statistic. Now, to quickly see how all your animals are doing in the zoo, you should go into Zoo Management and then into the Animals section. As you can see, this list shows you the animal's overall welfare. So if something's amiss, then you can quickly pop over to them using the Locate button. Right, I I'm off for a cuppa while you make sure all the animals are well looked after.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end this one right here. It's getting kind of long. So in the next episode, we'll go ahead and check on the what is that? The Aldabra giant tortoise. We'll go ahead and check on the zebra and giraffes and get their habitats into compliance so they'll be happy and healthy. So I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you like what you see, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you want to see more. If there's anybody out there who's listening who would like to accept the Lord Jesus as their Lord and Savior, I just want to say a simple prayer with you, and you can be saved. Say, Lord Jesus, I repent. I turn away from sin, and I choose to follow you. And you said in your word that if I believe in my heart and confess with my mouth that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, then I can be saved. Amen. Just want to congratulate you on making one of the best decisions that you could ever make in your life. The road to hell will not be easy, but nothing worth fighting for ever is. So continue to love God, play video games. See you on the next one. Peace out.